Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah. Do you remember like 8 months ago when everyone was doing the single shadow tag on like Instagram and YouTube? Yeah, so I'm doing that now. This tag was created by A Makeup Journey. I'm gonna have her Instagram down below. It's a series of questions, and actually when everyone was doing this tag and posting their pics, I abstained from looking at any of them, watching any of them, because I didn't want to have my choices influenced by the good arguments that other people were making. But joke's on me, because it's been so long that I could have enjoyed that content then and then forgotten about it. Alas. I went to Bad to the Brows videos to get the questions, and thankfully she had them all listed down below. So I'll do the same in case anyone else wants to revive this tag from the dead with me. And these questions were hard. I looked at the questions a couple days ago and I've been going back and forth on some of them. They shouldn't be hard, but like to me, we'll explain as we go through, I thought they were really hard. For example, the first and second question, your current favorite single shadow and your previous favorite before your current came along? How am I supposed to know? Seriously, I wrestled with this so much because I feel like the answer to this question should be like a recent shadow that I got that I've really been enjoying, and then my last favorite would be a slightly less recent shadow that I had really been enjoying until I got the newest shadow that I've been enjoying. But I feel like I've been enjoying my collection in like a circular way. Maybe it is just because there hasn't been like a knock my socks off moment in a little while, or I just have so many favorites that I've gotten a little bit longer ago, but they've really like stuck around and stood the test of time. So, you know, I had to choose an answer. And I did choose one. I chose Clionadh Mural for my current favorite, which feels like a funny answer because this shadow is like a year and a half old. I've had it for that long, and I've loved it and treasured it and cherished it and worn it for almost all of that time. But I'm currently in like another peak of my love with it where I just want to wear it all the time. So I am wearing it today. Okay, I'll zoom you in. This shadow has like a minty base and then really bold orange shimmer on top of it that also shifts to a bright, brilliant green. This shadow to me feels perfect. It feels very easy to wear. The texture of it is very agreeable, very smooth, but the payoff is so intense and lovely. I love the contrasting shimmer to the base, and I just don't have other shadows like this. The minty base by itself is unique in my collection, but then you throw in really bold shimmer and shift, and I love it. It's the full package. Here's Mural in the pan and swatched out. So beautiful, so shifty. The fact that you can see all those shifts on camera, I love it. And I feel like this shade is just like I already know it's an all-time favorite. And even if it's not at the forefront of my palettes, even if it's not like the one that I reach for, it's still going to stay a favorite, and I'm still going to wear it a lot and treasure it. And then for my answer to my last favorite before this one took its place, I chose Clionadh Palace. This one I got more recently than Mural. I acquired this in like March of this year, and when I got it, I was wearing it all the time, and I still wear it all the time, but I do feel like that little bit of peak excitement from when it was new has faded, and it's probably because of that I've like returned to Mural a little bit. So here is Palace. I also recently talked about this one in my favorite single shadows that I tried in 2023 video, and I did a look with it in like my holiday makeup look that I posted a couple weeks ago. But this shadow, the color is more like on the softer side, but it's also a super shifty shade, and I love it every time I wear it. Question number 3 is your favorite one and done single shadow. And this one was tough because like, if it's a one and done, does that mean literally the only shadow on your eyes? A lot of shadows I'll wear, kind of like how I'm wearing it today, I'll put a transition shade in the crease, and then I'll just put a beautiful shimmer all over my eyes. But I feel like that's not a one and done because I am using a transition shade. So then I was like, what shadow would I put all over my eyes and in my crease? And there's just one right answer for that, and that right answer is Pretties for Your Face Moby. This is like a satin shadow, but it does have a lot of shimmer in it, but just like the right amount. It has the right amount of shimmer to go in my crease without looking too shimmery. It can go all over my eye and just look interesting and beautiful. I guess the only thing is that I would want an inner corner shade, but I could use a highlighter for that. I mean, technically then I could use a blush or a bronzer for my crease and do any shadow all over my eyes, but we're going with Moby because I decided I just needed to pick answers for these questions. Question number 4 is single shadow you think is underrated. I think Luxie shadows have been underrated for a while, but it feels like now people are kind of starting to get into them a little bit and try them out more, and that makes me happy because I really love Luxie shadows. But I picked one that I feel like people aren't talking about from Luxie, but it's beautiful. The shade is Blue Lagoon. This shade is such a gorgeous shade of blue, but on top of that, it's super sparkly and it's shifty. I don't even think of myself as a big blue eyeshadow wearer, but this one is just so special. I don't think we'll see the shifts in this light, but on my eyes it has like such bright pink sparkle and it shifts to green. And I think this shadow deserves more hype because for $3, so insanely beautiful. Or even not for $3, but like bonus points because it is $3. For the 5th question, a single shadow not worth the hype. I feel like there's probably a better answer somewhere deep inside of me, but I could not for the life of me think of it. So the answer that I'm giving is Winter Sun and Pistol Star from Terra Moons. I've decluttered both of them, but I'll pop a picture up. They came out in a release earlier this year, and I feel like the hype was mostly before people got them in their hands, because in swatches they look so bright, so intense and metallic and sparkly and gorgeous, but just in use, they were so flaky and difficult to use that it wasn't worth the effort to try to get them to look as beautiful as they do in a swatch on your eyes. So I feel like they're not so hyped anymore because a lot of people realized that once they started getting them, but there was definitely hype before a lot of consumers had them and not worth the hype of how beautiful they look. Number 6. A single shadow that best represents your favorite singles brand. For this question, I was like, oh no, I have to choose because I never think of one brand as my favorite. And when I was thinking through it for this question, I feel like I have 3 favorites for different reasons. I feel like Luxie is a favorite because their shadows are so inexpensive and they have such like unexpected hits. It's always really fun to try out the new collections. I love the little community we've built around trying out new Luxie shadows, so I love them for that reason. I love Divina because I feel like the highest percentage of their shadows match my personal style. And on top of that, I love the formula and the finish of their shadows. And then number 3 as one of the brands tied for my favorite is Clionadh. They were the first like knock my socks off indie brand that I tried, and I think they still consistently put out really amazing shadows. So I feel like I could have gone with any of those as the answer to this question, but I decided to choose a shadow from Clionadh because I feel like it's the one that I had the best answer for a shade that best represents them. I chose the shade Forge. I've had the shadow for a while and I don't wear it that often because it is one of their black base multichromes and they're just a little bit deeper and harsher and I prefer something more light or mid-toned on my eyes. But some of the first shadows that I tried from Clionadh were their black base multichromes and I remember getting them in and I had family over for Christmas and I was like, I have to show you what I just bought, and I like ran up and I grabbed my shadows and I was swatching it and we're all like, ooh. And I think that's what's so cool about Clionadh, that they have these like absolute showstoppers. How incredible. How incredible is that? Such like a big contrast from like the green to the gold to the bronze to the red. So beautiful. And I know other brands do have shadows like this, but for me, it was Clionadh. It started with Clionadh, and like this shadow shows the magic of a good indie single shadow multichrome. Number 7 is a single shadow you grew to like. There might be a better answer for this also, but after a lot of thinking, I came up with Ice Blink from Shine by SD in collaboration with Seeking Shifts. And I feel weird putting this in that category because it's not like I didn't like it to begin with, but I didn't know how to use it when I first got it. This is an iridescent multichrome. It's super sparkly and it's like a little bit more piecey, a little bit more loose than other iridescents that I like using. because for me, iridescents mostly serve the purpose of going on my inner corners. And for my inner corners, I want shadows that are more smooth and stay in a place where you put them. So when I first got this, after hearing all the hype and hearing that everyone was loving it, I tried it on my inner corners and it felt a little bit too chunky. But after that, I started using it on top of eye looks to like top in the center. And I was like, oh, I get this. It makes every look so much more dimensional. Any like more boring shadow that I have, you put this in the middle and it spices it up. It has so much little piecey shimmer in it that this is not doing it justice. But people love it for a reason. I didn't see that reason when I first opened it up because this shadow expanded my thoughts about iridescent multichromes. And I love it. In fact, I even included it in my video from the other day about my favorite single shadows I tried this year because I love it that much. Question number 8 is a single shadow you would give to your worst enemy. I keep on saying question. They're like literally not questions, but I'm probably going to keep saying question anyway. A single shadow you would give to your worst enemy. And for this, I came up with a scenario because I feel like this is a topic that people will like joke about or make videos about talking about products they don't like. And I was like, when would I be in this situation? And I probably wouldn't literally do this because I try to be a nice person. But I was like, all right, imagine I have coworkers. I'm at a job and I have coworkers and they know that I love indie single shadows. And there's one coworker that I can't stand. And that coworker is like, I really want to get into indie single shadows too. But I don't want them to get into indie single shadows because then they'll probably talk to me more about it or like it's my hobby and I don't want them included in my hobby because I don't like them. So in that scenario, I would want to recommend a single shadow that's bad so they try it and they're like, oh, actually, I don't like indie single shadows, you know? I do declutter pretty regularly, so I don't have that many shadows laying around that I don't like. But the one that I came up with is Luxie Dirty Martini. This shadow is just like, it's really hard pressed. It picks up very like gooey and like you barely get even a good finger swatch. And then it's just, it feels gross. It looks gross. It doesn't have good sheen. It doesn't like spread or have good presence on the eye. It's just like not a good experience all around. And I bet if you were used to like naked palettes from Sephora and then you tried this, you'd be like, I'm sticking with my naked palettes. The only scenario I could think of that would be better for this is if I had a more expensive bad shadow. So then you're hitting them with the double whammy. It's like spend an astronomical amount of money on one shadow and then they hate it. If you have any suggestions for that, I'd love to hear, but I can't think of one that's expensive and this bad. Question number 9, we're getting to the end of it now. A single shadow you would pay double for. As I said, I didn't watch other people's videos, but I'm gonna guess that other people included this same shadow as the pick for this. This is Luxie Angel Wings. This is arguably the best shadow that they have. It's the interesting neutral to end all interesting neutrals. Soft, sparkly, easy to wear, looks good on everyone, and only $3. So like, when I say I would pay double for this, I would pay double for this. I love this shade. If I could keep one Luxie shade, it would likely be this one, and I know a lot of people agree. Like, Angel Wings is where it's at. And finally, the final question is a single shadow that best represents you. For this one, I chose Nocturne Ash from Divina. I love this shadow. This is one of my favorite shadows in my collection. I talk about it all the time. And I feel like if I had to describe my taste in shadows to someone, I would probably show them this. I love shadows that teeter the line between pink and purple, and like looking at this right now, like purple, pink. On top of that, insane multi-chrome. You could see like the goldness here. In person, there's a blue shift to it also that like gets me every time. It's so beautiful. The formula is sparkly, but it's smooth. It's easy to wear, not flaky or anything. And I'm just obsessed with the shade. I feel like if I could only wear one single shadow for the rest of my life, it would probably be this. I'm like Mural though. I was just talking about Mural. Hopefully no one will ever make me choose one single shadow to wear for the rest of my life. But if I could have a very small palette of single shadows, Nocturne Ash, you bet your booty it's in there. Here's my little palette of shadows in the pan. And here's another look at Clionadh Mural, Clionadh Palace, Pretties for Your Face Moby, Luxie Blue Lagoon, Clionadh Forge, Shine by SD and Seeking Shifts Ice Blink, Luxie Dirty Martini, don't buy that one, Luxie Angel Wings, and Divina Nocturne Ash. That's gonna be everything for today. If you want to share your answers down below, I would love to hear them. I'm so excited now to go back and watch some of my favorite creators' videos about this because I was so curious back then, and now that I've done the tag, I can see if my picks lined up with theirs. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. There's always way more indie makeup content on the way. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.